how the 49ers misevaluated their roster. Now, they just made this big all-in move, okay? And for Christian McCaffrey, good player, running back, 4 picks. After the move, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan both said they did this for the same reason they traded for Emmanuel Sanders a few years ago, because they're so confident that this is a Super Bowl team and they need one more piece. Same thing. Well, they're not one piece away. They're certainly not one running back away. If they needed to trade for something, it would be anything other than running back. Quarterback, offensive tackle, defensive end, defensive tackle, cornerback. They really thought that their team was special and they had no needs. This is a 3-3 team. Now it's 3-4. But when they made the trade, they were 3-3, and they're telling themselves that they're one piece away and that they're going to be going on a run. Why don't you wait a week and measure yourself against a real... They haven't faced a good team yet. They had all these evaluations of their own team based off 6 games against bad teams, 3 of which they lost. And they're like, you know what? Let's give up our entire draft next year for another running back, even though running back is arguably the strongest position on the team. So Christian McCaffrey comes in, plays well. The Niners' offense sucks. The Niners lose by a ton. And now you're looking at it like, man, how much can Christian McCaffrey really do? Can't block, can't throw, can't play defense, can't call plays. Those are the problems. I mean, it felt like a desperation move to trade for Christian McCaffrey after that loss to Atlanta that they thought they were gonna win that game. So to me, they really traded for Christian McCaffrey to save their season. Not because they're so good, but because they're so disappointing. I mean, this should have been their first loss of the season. They're not as good as Kansas City. They're better than every other team they faced so far this season. They should more talented, not better. Not better coached, but more talented than every team they faced so far this season before this one. And they're 3-4. And they have no draft next year or cap space. The only way this trade for Christian McCaffrey works out is if the Niners win a Super Bowl. That's why they brought him in. They're like, we don't need a draft next year. We're all in now. We don't need cap space next year. We're all in now. Okay, great. And so far, he's doing his part. But when they made the trade, I was thinking, man, what new element in the offense is he going to add? You know, are you sure this defense is as good as you think it is? Because you lost Eric Armstead, you lost Javon Kinlaw, you lost Emmanuel Mosley, Azeez Al-Shaair, and you haven't faced a good offense yet. Maybe wait. No, hold on. There you go. Wait till you see what you got. They rushed into this trade. They had 10 days before the trade deadline to evaluate their roster because they hadn't evaluated it yet. 10 days to do it, and they rushed to get Christian McCaffrey. Why did they rush? I feel like it was bad timing. They lost to Atlanta. They knew they were probably going to lose this game to Kansas City, and they wanted to change the narrative. Also, probably a bigger reason, the Rams were interested in Christian McCaffrey, so the Niners felt they had to outbid the Rams. I feel like getting Christian McCaffrey was as much about keeping him away from the Rams and adding him to this team. Okay, so he didn't make a big impact in this game, 23 points. That's pretty much what the Niners, that's a good day for the Niners, but that's not good. 23 points. And the Rams aren't going anywhere. If they had Christian McCaffrey, they still wouldn't be going anywhere. The Niners, they can run the ball with or without Christian McCaffrey. He should have been on the Rams, frankly. So they gave up all this to keep Christian McCaffrey off the Rams. Meanwhile, the Panthers won without Christian McCaffrey today. Scored 21 points, no problem. It's possible that a scat back who catches all his passes at the line of scrimmage and, gets 13 to 14 carries a game isn't a huge impact player, even though he's good. I mean, he makes an impact, but not enough. 23 points, and he played well. Next week, maybe he'll get 14 carries. Great. But I just don't see how 14 carries from Christian McCaffrey masks the quarterback problem, the head coach problem, the offensive line problem, and the defensive problems. Maybe if the Niners had just been patient, they would have realized that Christian McCaffrey was not the savior and that they were not one piece away from winning a Super Bowl. I respect the aggressiveness of going all in, but it was the wrong all-in move. And he's a good player. Matthew says, national broadcast showed Kyle Shanahan record of 1-31 when down by 3+ points. Secret is out. He never, ever, ever gets back to 500 in that stat. Fool's gold. Fool's gold. Now he's 42-26. So he has to finish this season 10-7 to get to 500. Let's see if he does it. Grant, don't let Trent Williams off the hook. I won't. I'm going to talk about him specifically. Lil Lord Stewie says they need an O-line, period. No reason to leave the fourth like they had. Opening for Jimmy and 1 second later sack. Like how Jimmy gets sacked. Yeah, man. But they drafted another. They traded for a running back. Just got off from Last Second Sports and saw Flav defending Jimmy. How when he missed on easy TD pass to Jeff Wilson? He committed 3 turnovers, man. Turnovers. I'm going to talk about him too. Are the Niners being the Rams, do you think playoffs? I don't know what that means. Are they going to beat the Rams? Probably. They always beat the Rams. The Rams are terrible. Thomas says, I figured we would lose, but not by that much. Damn, it was disheartening. How do you, it really must hurt their confidence. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. House of Jello says, to think the Chiefs aren't as good as the Bills. I know. This isn't even the best team in the league, the Chiefs. My dad saw Jimmy play for the first time today, and his thoughts, wow, that quarterback sucks. Yeah, and he has all the help in the world. Matthew Sanders says, even if the Niners go 3-14, getting CMC is the right move. He's an elite talent and better than anyone you can get next year to be alongside Lance. Okay, thank you. Lil or Stewie says, I just bought a CMC jersey, thought it would be good luck. The defense shouldn't be holding this team together. Rebuilding again 2023, 2024. No pick, no cap space either. Black Phil says, outside of Trent Williams, the other offensive lineman probably wouldn't make another NFL roster. You can't establish a runner pass without a line. Yeah, but the Niners have a lot of good running backs. That's okay. J. Mark Garza says, I said 2 days ago, trade Kyle Shanahan to Denver tomorrow. Do they want him? He lost to Denver. Jason says, I say it every week, win or lose, trade Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, but, you know. Nathan Flores says, pathetic showing by the defense, special teams, Kyle in the offense. Kyle is so vanilla, and today proved we are not ready to play with the top teams. Andy Reid schooled Kyle. Use the jet sweep. What happened to the jet sweeps in the Niners offense? They don't call them anymore. It's so weird when all their players are gadget players. 808 Niner says, Andy Reid killed Kyle with his own scheme. Jet sweeps in motion. Bosa never contains the edge, and don't know why Ward was flat-footed when he should have been backpedaling. Yup, we got to talk about Bosa too. They needed to not use CMC so much. They didn't even use him that much. They really didn't. 2 catches, 7 carries. Niners pass rush was non-existent in this game, and Jimmy loves to give games away like the red zone pick. I don't know how Shanahan said he's one of the best throwers of the football. He just be saying stuff. Irfin says, people really thought the past few weeks Jimmy showed a new Jimmy. 5 turnovers the last 2 games, and people thought he had turned a corner. It was a good trade, but will it work without Mike McDaniel? Max Kellerman. Well, if it won't work without Mike McDaniel, it wasn't a good trade. Jesus says, who can they get O-line in trade this season? They don't have picks anymore, man. Andy, 707, Kyle needs to go, and John Lynch and Jimmy. I mean, they were 3-4 last year. Let's see what happens. Niners daddy says, glad we got McCaffrey. He's really good. Too bad he can't play quarterback, which is the bigger need than running back. If only we traded up to get a quarterback, use him like a fullback. Hilarious. You know, I pointed out that Niners gave up more for Christian McCaffrey than they gave up for Steve Young, and a lot of people were like, Steve Young was terrible before they got him. Christian's better. Shut up. Steve Young was going to be the number 1 pick in the 1984 draft. He got a $40 million contract from the LA Express. He went to a bad team in Tampa. He was a quarterback with huge upside, and Bill Walsh got him for cheap. The Niners paid a premium for a running back just so the Rams wouldn't get him? That's short-sighted. What is the chances we trade Jimmy for Brady? Oh, man, that would be funny, right? Brady's going down the tubes. Did we really expect to beat the Chiefs even though we lost to the worst teams like Bears, Broncos, and Falcons? Good point. I almost picked the Niners to win this game. Thank goodness I didn't. Joey Mellon says, I didn't expect to beat the Chiefs, but that first drive got my hopes too high. So many stars. Chiefs are not. That was embarrassing. Yeah. And they couldn't punch it in at the end of the drive.